Hello, good evening. Welcome back to the next edition of Our People Speak. I'm your host this evening, Dewey Kathlia Hoffman. We're here at the Morris Thompson Cultural Visitor Center this evening. We are excited to be learning about fishnets. And our guest tonight is Kenneth Frank. In honor of him, as a Dinjijukia instructor, Shaljri Dewey Kathlia Hoffman Oji, Ruby Guatzanitli, Tanan Guichi. I said in his language that my name is Dewey, I'm from Ruby, and I live in Fairbanks. So welcome to the show, Kenneth. We're so happy to have you here with us. And would you like to begin by introducing yourself?
Sorry, Kenneth Frank. Di haiguchen vit haiguzanisha. My name is Kenneth. I'm a fan of Di haiguchen. I'm from Vinitai.
And I see you have a lot of tools and implements here that you'll be demonstrating with us this evening. Is there anything that you'd like to share with our audience in general about your experience either using nets or building them?
Yeah, years ago I learned from this one elder from Fort Yukon. His name is Fred Thomas, and he taught me couple of ways to tie fishnet, but there's a lot of different way of tying fishnet, and but that's where I got interested in making fishnet, and then I learned from different places where I do fishnet making and other people how they make fishnet, and that's kind of how I learn over time. Then I learned. I did little research on the elders that we used to have. We had quite a few up there, but they're not there no more. But early days, when they make fishnet, fishnet was one of the important thing in the springtime, and also sometimes in the fall. People travel. Gwich'in people are mainly nomadic people. They move around a lot, so sometimes they come to where there's fish, and then they had to make fishnet there. They don't carry the fishnet from the pass, but when they go to a certain place, they make fishnet. They make fishnet out of willow, the inner bark of a willow. They take this one off, and they spindle it, and then they make a little twine, and then they connect it to each other, and they make the fishnet by the water. They put it together, and then they put it into the water. So willow it could dry up and it become brittle. But if once you wet it, then they don't deteriorate. They don't get brittle. They put in the water, and while everybody helping each other, and the kids and all the elder and all the people that get the willow, and they bring it, and then they get the bark off, and then everybody contribute to making the fishnet at the creek. And then once the creek are not very wide, it's probably not even 20 feet sometimes. So they make the fishnet, and then they make it across there, and that's how they make a fishnet like that. They do it with willow, inner bark of a willow.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and then but the top line are all babiche and caribou skin. Yeah.
Oh.
So so they that's how they make fishnet. And then over time we have the twine and all that, and these this one here they call it my grandma call it vacheva shal they call it this stick here. It tretlu mean weaving, yeah, so that this one here they used to they put a big rope across there, one on top and one on the bottom, and they put a fishnet in there, and then they use this to tie the top one and the bottom one.
Mm-hmm.
And then and then the top one they put these are the bark from cottonwood, and we call it archery, we call it, and then they use that for a floater.
Mm.
And then and then they use the sinker. Sometimes they use rocks. They tie rocks, and sometimes they use antler, the piece of antler. They leave those antler in the water for a long time. They use it over time. It become like a petrify. It get heavy.
Mm.
So they tie that for the sinker, for the fishnet. So they use that for over and over. So when they use that, they just put them back in the water where they know where it is.
Mm.
So they just keep using it over and over.
Ready to go.
Yeah, it's a sinker.
Mm-hmm.
For the net. Yeah.
Oh.
When you have it when you treat it in the water, they become heavy.
Mm.
It become like a petrify.
Almost like ivory.
Yeah. And then they use that for sinker.
Mm.
And that one there they call it chicky. They call it chicky. Something that like a rock. It's heavy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. You see, this one here we call it saw. Yeah. And the bigger string they use, they call it chivvatal. They call it. This is one that they tie on top and on the bottom. And this one here is this one you make fishnet with.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. And also you kind of need this when you make fishnet, because you pull on it all the time.
Mm.
So if you don't have this, you'll have a blister on your hand. So this one here will protect your hand from when you tie it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and then you do that all day long. You don't get a blister here. Yeah, you make it out of the skin. That's about all that.
And are these ones to measure the size of the mesh?
Yeah, this for whitefish, we use when you pull on it, it's like 4.5
Mm-hmm.
for whitefish. For chum salmon, you need like 5 inches.
Oh yeah.
And then king salmon or silver salmon, and then they get bigger.
Mm-hmm.
So it's probably maybe 5-6 inch mesh. So this got to be 3 inch for king salmon.
Okay.
Yeah, or or a little wider like this, and they get it used twice when you pull on it.
Okay.
So that would be your mesh. So so some are small for like maybe a little smaller than whitefish, but maybe you could use that for grilling.
Okay.
Yeah. So anything you need this to when you tie your fishnet, so they're all in the same length.
Mm-hmm.
Every time you do that, and
Okay.
you kind of need this one to hold it too. Sometimes you put your fishnet all on here for the every time you tie it, and then you take it off, and then you go down another one, and then you tie all of them around here like that.
Mm-hmm. So you might need to repair it for a number of reasons, huh? In case a bigger fish swims through it, maybe it could rip.
Yeah, my father every year he how they call mint their fishnet. Every year he string out his fishnet, and then he fix it. He retied. He probably used the same fishnet like maybe 5 years maybe.
Okay.
Yeah. Because you know they're all living in a rural area, so those kind of hard to grab. So whatever they got, they use it over and over.
Mm-hmm.
So I used to do a lot of minting, but I don't do that all the time, so I kind of forgot. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But it's pretty easy to really learn it if you go out there and you'll figure it out. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So growing up, does it sound like this was an activity that both men and women would participate in?
Well, for my father, he's the one that putting the fishnet in the water, and so he's the only one doing that for himself.
Mm-hmm.
Not my mother. My mother, she does different work, I guess. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So I always watched my father doing that, but that's how I learned it. Yeah.
Hmm. And do you still use the wooden floats like this, or do you also use store-bought material?
Sometimes at home I got a lot of fishnet, and they don't have those store-bought floater.
Mm-hmm.
So I make a little block and put a nail on it, and then I use that, and then I use like rocks for the sinker.
Oh, okay.
You put a cloth, you get a little square cloth like that, you put rocks in it, and you fold it like that, and then you tie a string on it, and then you tie it on there.
Mm-hmm.
So and the store-bought fishnet are okay, but you got everything on there.
Yeah. What would be some materials you said for making the net? You said you would use willow. Would there be other materials you could use besides twine if you didn't have twine to make the actual mesh part?
For
like maybe before our people had access to twine, would we use things besides willows to make nets too?
Well, they make a kind of net out of babiche too, but that's just like they call it like a dip net. They use to catch a fish, and then they don't have it down there all the time.
Oh yeah.
Because bad beads are kind of hard to tie. It won't, it'll get entangled. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And babiche, for our viewers, it's the hide that's cut into strips. Is that correct?
Yeah. They make a little thin, make babiche. Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah. My grandmother said they need their fingernail when they make that babiche.
Mm.
They have a fingernail for it too.
Mm-hmm.
Their fingernail grows so long, so when they put that babiche in there, they just go like this. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, they just go like this, and and the person that's holding it, he got to know what he's doing too. You got to be even when you cut it like that.
Mm-hmm.
You got to be even. If you pull on one, it'll cut different.
Mm-hmm.
If you pull on this one, it'll go like this.
Mm.
So you got to be pulling on everything continuously
Mm-hmm.
at same pace. So you pull and you go like this, like this. So you have to know. You got to help that person that's doing that. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. They used to. They make a different kind of babiche. One is the thick one, and one is that skinny one. They use for snowshoe.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Uh-huh. Yeah. They call that little chick that for the snowshoe.
Mm.
And then the bigger babiche, they call it quite light little. It mean little bigger.
Mm.
Yeah.
And that one you might use for rope or lashing different things.
Yeah, you could tie things with it. You tie like your fish spear. You got to tie those things with babiche. That thick rawhide.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and then they use that on snowshoe where you got your feet. They got a bigger babiche there,
Mm-hmm.
little wider than the where the snow or the really thin babiche. Yeah, that's why they call it quite light little. Yeah. Yeah.
Great. Do you have perhaps a certain time that you went fishing that you really remember when you used a net like this? Maybe what kind you were going for or what it was like to put the net in?
Well, at home I made a fishnet for grayling.
Mm.
Yeah, I made it maybe from here to over there, and up in Arctic there's a lot of narrow creek where there's a lot of times grayling come down. So I made a short one, and then I went up and I put the fishnet in at the mouth. And then next day I went back up there. I caught like 15 grayling in there.
Mm.
Yeah, so I made a fishnet with this one here, really a small mesh. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And then with that kind, do you fillet the grayling or do you dry it whole or cook it whole?
Yeah, the grayling are certain fish you can't really preserve it, drying it. If you're trying to dry it, it'll become like a stick.
Oh.
Yeah, they don't dry it,
Mm.
but they preserve it by when they get colder, and then they freeze it, and then you could preserve it for the winter.
Okay.
But in summer, it's just like you go out hunting and you see grayling, you catch it and you cook it, and that's what it's for.
Mm.
Yeah, you can.
Gotta eat it up.
You gotta eat it up. You gotta
Mm.
take what you need, and then that's it. Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah. Yeah. You cook it. You cook it on a charcoal fire. The charcoal, amber,
Mm-hmm.
right? Amber, not the fire, but
Yeah, like the coal
amber,
part.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah. You put it on there. You cook it. It cooks pretty fast. Yeah, you could cook a big grayling like that. And sometimes we get a willow about this long, and you you sharpen about, take the bark off about this long on a willow, and you put in the mouth, and you put it, and then you tie a bark around that grayling on both sides, and then you could just cook it to a fire. Yeah, you gotta tie that bark around it, so if you cook it, it's gonna come down, fall apart.
Just fall right off the stick.
So that's why you gotta tie that bark on there, on top and bottom. Yeah. Yeah.
So fun.
Yeah, it's you could cook even whitefish on a willow. You get a willow about this big, and you split it in half.
Oh, a bigger one, yeah.
Yeah, you split it in half. You kind of split it like that down to here, and then you put the whole that whitefish. You split it in half like that, and put it the head first, and you go down, and then you tie it up there, and you put a couple of willow in there, and clamp it down on here and here, and then and it'll be like this, and then that whole thing you could cook to a fire.
Oh wow!
Yeah, real traditional way. Yeah, you don't need no anything to. Yeah.
Don't need tin foil or any of that?
No, yeah. That one there they call a cuddle. As an old word, cuddle. That means you cook, you roast fish to a fire. Yeah.
Making me hungry.
Yeah. Yep.
Is there any tips for those who want to learn how to make a net? I guess there's probably tutorials available, but you want to give us a demonstration?
Yeah. Yeah, there's this one here. We'll use this one. And you need this, and well, hold on, yeah. This is a really good, when you sit around, you could tell story and make fishnet, You sit around and you,
Is that like almost a nylon kind? Or cotton?
I don't know. It's yeah, maybe this is kind of thinner. I mean, this is bigger, huh? Huh?
Yep, that one I can tell is cotton. This one might be
This
mixed.
is nylon. Huh?
Oh, okay.
I think this is nylon too, cause
Oh, okay.
yeah. And I use this one, and like I said, you're gonna have to use this kind to, otherwise you get blister on your fingers.
Yep. Just like skin sores.
This first one you go around twice, huh? Like this, and then you tie it here. You know what I mean?
You gotta wrap it around 2 times.
Yeah, that's where you get your mesh. This one here, I don't know, we don't know the name in our language. When you make fishnet, this knot here, right there, it's got to be right in the middle, like this. That's probably about the middle, and then this one here, so they stay one place. Yeah, and then this one here, this one, usually we put this on a nail, you know, you nail it, but we're going to use your finger.
Okay.
Yeah, you hold on like that. So this is where you start. Okay. And then this one here we call it Cheva. I don't even know what that means. Retlu means weaving. Cheva shuttle. I don't know what shuttle is. Yeah. So you have to go odd number all the way down until like you do this like 7 times, and then when you stop, and that will be the width of your fishnet.
Okay.
Right now we're doing the width of the fishnet.
From top to bottom?
Yeah, so we're going to go from here. If you want your fishnet 4 feet deep, so you have to go from here, you go out how many times you got to, but at the end you gotta stop where the odd number, not even number, okay, like 5, 7, or 37, or
okay,
or 67, or that's when you got to stop. Not on even number.
Okay.
And then you, this one here, you when you tie this, you make a loop here. You put it right through, and then you go through this one, huh? Like that. This is where you need that. You need this the skin. So see, you make a really perfect knot there.
Looks good, yeah.
And you go like this, and I can't see it. So you just, right now the first start is just making the width of the fishnet, huh? You can tell that you can hold it all day, yeah, because it's strong. You know, you gotta put a little strength to it. That's why it's good to put it on the put it on a nail or
something heavy.
Nail won't say ouch, right? Huh?
Part of my warrior training.
Yeah, you just keep doing that until after a while you do this like 100 times you could just do it without even looking at it, huh? Yeah, you just keep doing that. Huh? After I don't know how many times I did this, let me see.
Maybe we're at 4.
Hmm. That old guy who was doing it, like he's doing it really fast, you know. Like I'm going like maybe like 4 times slower right now, but he's doing it really fast.
Mm-hmm.
He said over the winter he go through like a spool of about 4 of these to make a really long fishnet.
Mm.
So every year he said, he's always in a cabin, and every night he got nothing to do, he make fishnet. Yeah. If you do this, a couple of times a week, next summer you'll have a fishnet.
Mm.
Huh?
I think it got caught on the tooth there, yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of fun when if you do this, it's just practice, you practice all the time, and then you remember. That old guy he knew that I want to learn, I asked him, teach me how to make fishnet. I told him. He just laughed at me. He said, I thought you were Indian. He said, you got to know those things. He said. And from there, then he sat down with me and he taught me how to do this. It's kind of good things to learn these stuff, these survival stuff. It's kind of like a good therapy.
Mm.
Your people did this early days, huh? It's good to learn how they did it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I think our word for net is tabi. I think our word for net is tabis in Dinaka.
Oh, fishnet?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, also we call it chikvia.
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 Chit e chikvia.
Huh?
Chit e chikvia.
Chikvia, yeah. We're making chikvia. Whoops. My finger came out.
You're flying.
Huh?
You're flying.
And then what we'll do now is, let's see, I wonder how many, because turn this around. Okay, this one. Your finger got red?
Nope, that's good.
Huh? Gee. Where all that red come from? Huh?
My wife says my hands are too soft. It's a good chance to roughen them up.
Yeah, when we start living in the city, our hand gets smooth, huh?
Yep.
But if you're living in a village, you always work with your hand.
Mm-hmm.
I gotta untie this. You know, when you get older, you're not coordinate like you used to. You know. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
You start shaking and. Okay, here you are. And, cut it off. And then this one here, I gotta untie this one too. Okay, let me see. This one goes over like this. And then, where's that? This one here, you need that. Okay, put that on your finger. So now we're. So this is the width of the fishnet, okay? So now we're going to make the length of the fishnet.
Okay.
Huh? So, so where you gotta catch this one here, like this one. This one here, once you do this, you gotta keep it on there, huh? So you gotta keep this on here. Next one. So you're making the length of the fishnet now, not the width, huh? This one here, some people they do it so many ways. This one here, they I think everybody got their own different way of tying these. You know, some people they go this way, and then they just go twice like this. Not. This is some people when you say some people in your language, they say "chetke." Some people, huh? It's a famous word, you know. Chetke. Some other people they do it this way. And this one is different knot. So yeah. It's very important. You gotta keep these one all, all together, huh? Don't let it come apart when you do that, huh? That's why sometimes it's important that this is sharp. This thing here. But you gotta keep it tight too when you do that. Don't get don't get it buckle it up. Yeah, keep it tight.
Looks like it could be easy to tangle up.
Huh?
Could be easy to tangle up, huh?
Yeah. If you sometimes this one here it needs sharpened, so that way it'll go right through here.
It's
really
starting
good.
to look good.
Huh?
Starting to look good.
Yeah, it's a really good demonstration. Okay, hold on. So that's it, see? And then you take this one off again, and then you start over again, see? Start from here again, huh? So you're just making the length of the fishnet now. It's pretty easy to grab a wrong thing too. If you made one mistake, then you gotta untie everything.
Really?
Yeah, you can fix it. So if you made a mistake, and you gotta go back to where you made a mistake.
Just like with sewing, kind of.
Huh?
Kind of like with sewing.
Oh, I don't know about sewing. Yep. pretty neat if you do this all winter long. You'll have a fishnet, huh? I'm sure you got a creek down there. Where you from? Huh?
Yep.
Yeah, maybe you could. Make a fishnet for that. These are pretty easy to make a mistake here, you know.
How old did you say you were when you started learning how to make nets?
Well, everything I was learning, I was kind of exposed to it when I was small, but I never make fishnet or anything until I got to like 40 year old. I finally went to the elders and I work as a Gwich'in scholar. So I trying to learn everything what the elder know about some survival, like, you know, how to make trap with stone, how to make trap with even twine like this, you know.
Wow.
Make snare, yeah, and they had those knowledge because they brought up in those time where it was pretty hard to get things, you know. Nowadays, us, we have a store over here, Fred Meyer, Yeah, I was like around 40 year old when I started learning all this. Yeah.
It's always a good time to learn then, huh?
Yeah, it could be, yeah. Yeah, all this stuff I learned when I was like 40 year old. Yeah, so now I got, my duty is start to, teach the younger people how to make fishnet, or, a little history about fishnet. Yeah. So we'll do that one more time and
Are there other things you could net besides fish?
Huh?
Are there other things you could get with a net besides fish?
Oh, they used to make fish net for muskrat, for beaver. They and then they make dip net. I mean, dip those dip net with a pole with a round thing on it. They put a net on there,
Yeah, you were mentioning that with the babiche.
Yeah, and my grandfather, he called it they call it dip net. I remember he used to put those dip net in the water where little runoff creek like that. He put those things in there, put a stick like that, and he put it in there. Next day, when we check it, there's always like 5-6 grayling in there. At the end, it's pretty long. So once they go in there, they don't swim back out.
Oh, you want the net to be
Gotta be long.
like a funnel?
Yeah. And That one there,
You ever hear about people using it for birds, netting birds?
oh no, well, they do. They used to use fishnet. They in fall time, around July, when the ducks they don't have feather, they can't fly, so they dive all the time. So sometimes they have a big lake like this, like Winnipeg got that lake, that big lake. It goes around like that here, like this. It's like a finger up there. And they block this entry. They block this entry, and then they put fishnet here and there, and they drive all that ducks this way over to the fishnet, and then when they dive, they go in that fishnet.
Oh wow!
They used to get. I heard they used to get a lot of ducks. Yeah, in July they call those ducks cha. Cha, yeah, that means they don't fly.
Huh?
They don't. That means they can't fly, and they dive in the water.
Because their feathers are wore out.
No, they grow a new feather on their wing. Yeah. They do that every year. Okay, we'll do that. Do that one more time. I mean, and then okay, one more, huh? Yeah, this is kind of fun doing this, Sometimes I used to work over at FE school, and those kids, they do this sometimes 2 weeks. Pretty hard for some of them to learn, but now what maybe what we could do is untie that one, huh? I mean,
undo this knot?
I don't know how much time we have, but
we'll just be wrapping up here shortly.
Well, so this is the width of the fishnet, see?
Wow.
And this is becoming length. Huh?
Could we hold it up for the camera?
Sure. Yeah. Yeah.
Pretty good.
Yeah. Just keep doing that. You make it long. Yeah.
And this is a good size for whitefish, you said?
Yeah. This is good for whitefish. Yeah. Yeah.
Quincy.
Yeah. If you want a chum salmon, make it a little wider. Yeah. And then the king salmon, make it a little wider. Yeah.
And this type of material is strong enough for the salmon too?
Oh yeah, these are good all around salmon. Yeah. Any kind of fish. Yeah.
Great.
Grayling, whitefish, chum salmon, silver. They won't break this yet.
Pretty good. Just did that in about 20-30 minutes here.
Yeah.
Can imagine having a fresh net here after a little while. Well, Kenneth, is there anything else you wanted to share with our audience before we close for the evening?
You know, a lot of times we're home not doing anything, you know. So really, it's a good therapy, you know, keep yourself busy. And sometimes when you do this, everything kind of come back to you, you know, the story, the older people that tell you, and I remember all those history, what people told me about fishnet, and you know how they make it by the creek, everybody helping each other, and using the willow bark, the inner bark, you know, that white bark inside there. Yeah, they get this big willow like that long, so they take that thing out long, and then they weave it on their hand like that.
Okay.
It's kind of like a how they call it, helping each other. I don't know how to.
You got to work together?
Yeah. See, one guy will be over there taking the strip off and give it to like a factory, you know, assembly.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Give it to these guys that weave it like that, and they give it to the people that are weaving this. So everybody is like a assembly line from where the willow are standing over there. The kids are bringing it over, and then the people that, you know, everybody helping out, and they make fishnet in no time. And then, you know, when you start seeing the fishnet going like that, you know, the floater, it's going like that, you know, the fish get caught in there. Huh?
Exciting.
Everybody get excited. Yeah. I used to put fishnet in the water, and I stand there until I see the floater go like the first fish. I just jump in a canoe and then grab that fish. Then it goes into the fry pan. The tail is going like that, but it's in a fry pan. That's how fresh it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good eating.
Yeah. But it's kind of fun doing, you know, fish are good eating. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, Masi Cho for sharing your stories and your knowledge with us. We really appreciate it, and that's what we hope for with this space. And I would just close by mentioning that this series is hosted here at the Morris Thompson Culture and Visitor Center in partnership with the Nakanaga and Tana Chiefs Conference, with generous support from Doyon. And we hope you all look out for the following events through this series, and hope you're all doing well. Like Kenneth says, make sure you're doing something. It's good to learn. Anyone can learn how to make these fish nets, and hopefully this is one more thing that we could do to pass on to our kids and next generation, so we know how to do these skills. So, Nabasi, Kenneth, and we'll see you all next time. Have a good evening. Pada.